Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. In the yesterday's session we saw 3 levels of realities which we all know, one of which is where we are right now, transactional reality. In Sanskrit it is known as Vyavaharika Satta. Satta means reality, Vyavahar means transactional. So in the transactional reality where we are aware of whatever we are experiencing through the senses. I see, you hear, we hear the heavy sound of the fan as well. So we all are aware of all the things the senses give to us as an input. So therefore we consider this as the most real thing. Upanishads point out an absolute reality which is not perceived by the senses. Yatho vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. A very important statement where the speech returns with the mind. Cannot be perceived by the senses, cannot be known by thoughts. It's not an emotion, it's not a feeling. It's not a sensory perception, it is not something which, what we use to understand as the word through which we understand, that cannot be seen. This was a question raised by a student in Upanishads. Kene shitam patati preshitam manaha kena prana pratama praidiyuktaha kene shitam vachamimam vadanti chakshusrutram ka udevo gnati. It's in Sanskrit. Why the mind is falling on objects? It's a very interesting question. The student has really thought about it. Objects don't come to us. Our perceptions go to the objects. If I'm seeing you, my eyes are going to you, really speaking. Let me clarify this point here. If I switch off all the lights here, if my eyes are open, can I still see things? Yes or no? Absolutely dark, no light at all. Can I see anything? Okay, when I put on the light and I see you all sitting there in the chairs and everything, what am I actually seeing? Am I seeing you, or I am seeing the light reflected by you? That's why when you use a camera usually captures the light, and if there is no light, it throws the light. It's called flash, and it picks up that light. So my eyes are also not seeing you, I'm seeing only the light reflected by your body. You understand? So in the same way, all senses are only capturing the consciousness going out and coming back. This is very interesting way of looking at things. So the great masters have thought about it, and the student is asking this question: how is the mind falling on the object? Meaning, the inside means there is something which is actually flowing out, and that's what I experience. Why is it happening? What is that which is flowing from me to outside, which I experience as my senses? To see, hear, taste, smell, touch, etc. While it is true, when you are in the state of dream or deep sleep, you are not keeping your ears closed or nose closed. Yet you don't experience anything from the world. Why? There is something which is going from within you to outside, is not doing so anymore. Sometimes some people keep the eyes open and sleep. Like some of you in satsang also. Your eyes are open, but you're not listening to anything. Ears are open, you're not hearing anything. Meaning, there is something which is not flowing outside you. Call it mind or call it consciousness. The student is asking, what is that because of which eyes are able to see, ears are able to hear, nose is able to smell, tongue is able to taste? The teacher doesn't give you the direct answer. He says, Shrotrasya Shrotram Manaso Manoyat Vacho Havacham Savu Pranasya Prana Chakshushas Chakshuhu Adimuchya Dhira Priyatyasma Lokhat Amrita Bhavanti. It's eye of the eye, ear of the ear, nose of the nose, skin of the skin, mind of the mind, speech of the speech. It's a very abstract way of answering that question. What is that which makes my ear see? Ear of the ear. What makes my eyes able to see? Eye of the eye. Mind of the mind. Meaning, without that, the mind is no mind. Without that, ears are no ears. We are just physical organ, but doesn't hear. Without that, eyes cannot see. Without that, nose cannot smell. That is what you are. And knowing which, you know you are immortal. Because what dies is not that. What dies is this physical frame, the physical body. So, as I said yesterday, the transactional reality is what we give maximum importance, reality, and that's what we live most of the times. What we see, hear, taste, smell, touch, that's all is most important to us. The whole world, all beings, all living beings live in that realm of reality. Only human beings start asking questions. That's why it's called man or human, because he has man. Man means mind. Because we have mind, we have a thinking faculty, we ask questions, we want to know, is this eyes are seeing or something behind the eyes is making the eyes see? So this very mind of ours, whatever it projects, it's called perceptual reality. And that's where we are caught most of the times. Our mind projects ideas and notions, the notion of happiness, notion of unhappiness, notion of joy, notion of pain, and it constantly lives and dwells in that realm. And that's where the bondage is. That's where we are limited, conditioned, suffering. Well, behind the mind, as though, is that which is a silent presence, quiet presence, awareness, called consciousness. So the approach of Upanishads is from transactional reality to come to the absolute reality, you have to pass through the filters of perceptual things. And our perceptions are so varied, so different from our own, each other. And based upon what? So here is a typical idea that is given in the Upanishads as well as in Vedantic texts. And the picture is self-explanatory, so I don't need to explain. What are they seeing? All are blind. The five of them are blind. And what are they seeing? The same elephant, but what is their notion about the elephant? Somebody holding on to the ear thinks that's elephant. He says it's like a mat. Somebody holding on to the trunk, he says it's like an elephant. It's like a snake. Somebody holding on to the leg, he says it's like a tree. Somebody it's look like a wall. Somebody for him it is looking like a tail. And the tail is looking like a rope. So finally they all are seeing the same thing, but concluding it as different. In the same way, we see the same world, but not in the same way. Our reality is decided by the coloring that we have in our mind. The way we see is decided by our past, our tendencies, our habits, our values, and what we give priority to, what we think is happiness. So this perceptual reality is what is referred as Maya in Upanishadic terms. Maya, it's two words. Ma means not, ya, that which is not, but appears to be so. Some people have Maya as a name also. Anybody here name Maya? Thank God. Because Maya by nature is an illusion, an appearance, a temporary appearance. When you go out during the day, if you look up in the sky, what is the color of the sky? Yeah? Blue, right? Blue or not? Is it blue? At least here it is blue, not in Los Angeles where I am coming from. It's all completely, like a smoky blue, smog. So here it's blue. Is it blue or it appears to be blue? So what makes you see the blueness there? Is it really there or it is here in your perception? The condition of the eyes. So Maya is that which makes a thing appear to be what it is, but it is not really there. That's why a magician in Sanskrit is known as Mayavi. A person makes it look like happening, but it is not there. What is there, you don't see. What is not there, you see. That's the way the faculties, eyes, ears, nose, etc., are fooling us. Not only that, our mind has its own notions. That also creates added confusion there. I usually give this example when I walk out of airport after the flight landed and I have finished, especially when you go to India. As soon as you come out of your immigration and walk out, there will be the stalls full of duty-free stalls. They have bottles and bottles of liquid spirituality. You know what is liquid spirituality, right? You go to almost the same spiritual level, but with the liquid. So when I walk by the aisles, I have no interest to drink. Really, don't doubt it. So I walk by that and I look at it and it doesn't attract me. Whereas somebody else who's coming with me probably, who's traveling with me, may be interested in that and goes for it. Goes to buy that because it's cheap there inside the airport. Now, that thing that is there in the stalls as liquid spirituality is there for me as well as for him. But for me it is of no use. I don't have any interest to buy or enjoy that. For him it's a real thing. He enjoys it, he wants it. His senses demand it, his mind wants it. So, he would go for it. World remaining the same, our perceptions make us act accordingly. So this perceptual reality is where the most bondage is lying. Most of the lack of freedom, lack of happiness, lack of inner contentment and peace is because of giving reality to our perceptual reality that is there based upon our vasanas, tendencies, habits, our ideologies, our ideas, notions, conclusions. Upanishad is not saying that the world is not true. That's a very interesting point. This is where we differ, the Vedanta or the Upanishad differ from Buddhist philosophy. While Buddhist philosophy says nothing is there, it's emptiness. Whereas Upanishad would say it is, but temporary. That's the reason why Adi Shankaracharya, a great exponent of the Advaita Vedanta, he says, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. Satyam means what is true. The world is, the Brahman, the reality is true. The world is apparent. He didn't say untrue. He didn't say unreal. He said apparent. Just like when you dream and when you wake up, as I said yesterday, at the time of dream, it is so real, you never questioned it. Did you question it? If you questioned, you would have woken up. Or when you wake up, you will question it. When I was in the state of dream during the late night, I had a wonderful dream and I enjoyed it. I had the fourth ice cream I wanted to have. Nobody can stop me. I always ask these children, you want ice cream? You want ice cream? Ah! Because you want ice cream, right? Anyway, that's a joke. So I enjoyed my ice cream, fourth, the fifth cup of ice cream. Nobody can stop me. But when I wake up, I realize it was real at the time when I experienced it, but now I woke up, it's no more real. At that time when I was experiencing, I never doubted it, I never questioned it. Only when I wake up, I realize, oh, that was an imagination. Nice, enjoyed it, but not true. This was a question raised by a great king, Janaka, to his teacher. What is his name? Yagyaval. No, his teacher, Janaka's teacher was also Ashtavakra. Ashtavakra was a very peculiar teacher. He was teaching him by riddles. So Janaka, the great king, who was also a great seeker of truth, he said to his teacher, his guru, yesterday I was dreaming in the night and I felt that I was a butterfly going around from flower to flower, enjoying my flying time there. And I woke up to know that I am a king. Okay, what's your question? Then he asked to his teacher, am I the king who dreamt like I was a butterfly, or I am the butterfly dreaming now as a king? Which is true? Which is true? Am I the butterfly now talking to you like a king, or am I the king who dreamt myself as butterfly yesterday night? Which is true? The teacher said, neither, you are Brahman. Neither you are a butterfly nor a king. Both are wrong. Because from the standpoint of this, dream looks unreal. From the standpoint of the dream, this is unreal. From the absolute, both are unreal. This perceptual reality, which we have given so much importance, is what pollutes our mind and makes our world either to hate or to love, either to possess or to renounce, either to choose to aggrandize and hold on to, or detach and get rid of. Upanishad says both are wrong. Neither you love it nor you hate it. Neither you own it nor you disown it. Neither you possess nor you renounce, because it is your reality that you give that makes you do this. So the world is not to be blamed for what it is. The changes always takes place, good and bad, right and wrong, everything takes place. That's why Nachiketa, a great student of Kathopanishad, when he was asked this question, what do you want to know, by his teacher Yama? He said, tell me that is not either true or false, either righteous, not unrighteous. Neither I want to know about the past, present or future. What is beyond that? What is uncreated? What is ever there? That's what I want to know. Don't tell me the answers belong to something relative. Anyatra dharmad, anyatra adharmad, anyatra asmad, kruta akrutad, anyatra bhutacha bhavyacha, yattat pashyasi tatvada. Please tell me that which you see, which is neither belong to the past, present or future, neither right or wrong. Please tell me that. So, the world as we see is experienced not as is by us, it is always polluted by our own perceptual conclusions and notions, and the world as is temporarily experienced by us, similar to that of the dream. The more reality we give to our perceptions and which colors the world which we perceive, the more we get entangled in that very perception itself. And this entanglement, this which is catching us constantly is called Maya. So, the Upanishads talk about how to get rid of this Maya, how to overcome this. It works in two ways. It covers what is there and projects what is not there. The typical example is given like a person is walking in a lonely street and he was about to reach his home, and on the doorstep he finds a snake coiled there. And he had no, flashlight in his hand. So he looks at it and he gets so afraid. So this snake, how can there be a snake in this concrete jungle? He calls out for his wife and, he takes his phone, tries to call her. She has switched it off. She's watching some TV serial there inside. And he doesn't know what to do, so he goes around this, because all the doors are locked. He goes on knocking and knocking. The TV volume was so high she couldn't hear at all. He was sweating because he was not able to get into the house. At the same time, he felt that if he tried to cross over the steps, that will bite him. So he waits for some time, and after a few minutes, he sends a text message to his wife, and she gets it, and she puts on the light at the door front, and then opens the door. Yes, why didn't you come in? You have the key. In that light she put it on, he saw, instead of snake, it is nothing but coiled rope. Some rope that was there, which is used for some other building or something else to tie up. It was coiled there and kept there. What would he say? Nothing. I was just taking one more round of walk. I went. But you had the key. Why did you come in? Don't ask me too many questions. Tell me the truth. I will not allow you inside. Why you didn't come inside? Okay, I thought it is a snake there. Which? Here. Snake? In this concrete jungle, how can there be a snake? I saw it. How did you see it? I saw it there, but it's only rope. I know that. Then, maybe because the light was not clear, and then it looked like a snake. Now, it is true. At the moment when he saw the snake, he never questioned it, because he could see only that. Only when she put on the light, he could see that it's nothing but a rope. Now, this is just an example to say that when we don't see what is there, we usually project something else on that. These are the two aspects of our confusion. Not seeing what is there and seeing something which is not there. It is called non-apprehension and misapprehension. This happens to us all the time. Whenever you think of anything is an object of happiness, actually you are not seeing it. You are projecting on it. Anything which you are attracted to enjoy and indulge, it's a projection of your happiness upon that. Because I never love something, none of us love anything that doesn't cause happiness. Anything that is in our notion as an object of happiness is what we love, what we desire to have, or own, or indulge in. Anything that is causing more pain and unhappiness, we don't love it. Right? If I have something which I want to sell to you, let us say I want to sell this phone to you. How much do you think it will cost? What is the price of this? $200, $300? It still looks new, no scratches. Let us say it's $300. All right? So if I'm ready to sell to you for $300, which means what? I need $300 more than this. That's why I'm selling it to you. For me, $300 is more valuable than this piece of plastic or electronic equipment. For you, this is more important than $300. That's why you're ready to buy. That's what is called economics in this world. So what I value is not what you value. What you value is not what I value. My happiness is in the dollar that you're going to give. Your happiness is in this equipment. I have lost my happiness in this, therefore I'm giving it to you. You want this happiness from me, and therefore you are ready to shell out your money. This idea of happiness, therefore, that we project upon object is what make us transact anything. What I don't want is what I want to sell, and what you want is what I can offer, and you want that. That's why people sell and buy. So the whole transaction in this world is happening because of the notions of happiness that we keep on having on objects and keep on changing as well. That's why in many houses you see garage sale. What is that? I don't want it. I want to get rid of it. That's why I put a garage sale. And especially in the United States, garage is filled with things and costliest cars are standing outside. 50,000 to 30 to 60,000 worth of the cars stand outside. Useless things will be filled inside the garage. And you put a garage sale to sell away, to get rid of things that you don't like, and somebody buys it and puts it in his garage. Next week, he will have it at a garage sale. Same thing. Because he doesn't find it useful anymore. Maybe used it for a day or two. This is how the world is. That's called transactional world, where I like something which you have, and you like something which somebody else has. And therefore, the transaction goes on. So Upanishad says that the notion of happiness that we have is what is known as the perceptual reality, or notion of pain that we have, notion of hatred, notion of success, notion of failure. So therefore, our experiences are limited to physical, emotional, intellectual planes, since at any given moment we assume that we are one or more of these three. Either we want physical comforts or intellectual appreciation or emotional appeal. And this is where we continuously dwell and engage. And Upanishad says, you need to come out of this. If you want permanent happiness, call it moksha or salvation or liberation. If you are not interested, Upanishad is not for you. If you have come here as a student to learn something about yoga, it's because you think yoga can give you health, or can give you the flexibility, and things like that. And that's why you are here. If you don't have a value for it, you would not be learning this, putting so much strain on your body. Is it right? In the same way, if we are looking for true liberation and salvation and find happiness, then we have to come out of our notions of temporary happiness that is obtained by emotional satisfaction, intellectual respect, or honor, or physical comforts. So this is the interesting idea that I have put together. It's our idea of the world is like a film projection. If you look at here, what we call it as a pure consciousness is, a religion calls it as God's presence in us. It's of the nature of awareness, alertness, joy, bliss, permanence. So this consciousness is like a lamp in this projector. And if you see, the thoughts are the constant thing that is moving, like a film roll. And the lens which is used for projection is called vasanas. And what is projected is our perception on the wall called the world. If you can understand the analogy here, the consciousness acts as a light. It is not doing anything else but shedding the light. In the light of consciousness, our thoughts pass by, thoughts meaning the modifications of the mind. And the projection takes place through the lens. The lens is none other than that which is making the big thing bigger than what it is, the vasanas, the inner desires, and what we do project on the world is the picture on the wall of the world. And why this analogy is important is, a thought is not an experience. A thought followed by similar thoughts is an experience. And when you go to a movie theater, if the projection is taking place and one single frame alone is not projected, the moving of that frame one after another makes it appear it is true, as though something happening there really. Many times we forget ourselves when we are watching a movie and we become so entangled, so identified with the hero of the movie or heroine of the movie, and then you get carried away by the story and everything, because there is an apparent reality taking place. The projection of this movie, the very thing is, it's because it's moving. Frame after frame after frame after frame. In the same way, thought after thought after thought after thought makes it so real. Most of our habits are not because of one-time experience. We have gone to that again and again and again and makes it so real. Yes, that's what I want. So this constant movement of the thoughts is what makes us feel it's real. And also projected by or for going through the lens called vasanas, past tendencies. Now, in this analogy, if you switch off the light, what happens? Will there be any more projection on the screen? Thought will be there as though the lens is there, movement is there, light is not there. That's why we call it as light of consciousness. We will come to this more explanation when we go to the understanding of sleep. So the Upanishads do not, merely, as I in the beginning itself said, it's not talking about God. It's not talking about it's God's qualification and the characteristics. No. The whole teaching is about who you are and how do you find the final happiness. It's not about some external form or a grace that is coming to help you out there. You have to do it yourself. That's why very few people go to learn this. Because if somebody is going to help, then they can go and plead. You can go and ask, surrender, and say, oh, you help me, Lord, I do not know what to do. You may get help, no doubt about that. But one who is, unfortunately, we are all, as my master would say, we are all university educated continental idiots. Because we want logic for everything. We want rationality. We want to go by what the intellect demands. And therefore, Upanishad addresses the intellect of an individual and says, if you have got into the state of bondage, it's not somebody's mistake. It's not somebody's curse. Or somebody made it happen. You did it. Your own perceptions, your own wrong thinking. And unless you think it right, you cannot come out of it. So this example is to show that the world is a movementless, a single wall on which we project the idea of happiness and unhappiness, etc., based upon our thoughts and enlarged by the vasanas because of the light of consciousness within us. Now, what is that then we will have to do to come out of this? This is beautifully pointed out by the Upanishads. The sadhana, the method of coming out of our personal bondage situation. We always have choices, and more understanding you get, more choices you see. When you send your children to school to study, or the university education that you had, what is that which you are expected to understand at the end of your 12 years of schooling or 3-4 years of graduation? undergraduation, etc. What is that which you're not going to remember all that you have learned. No, not at all. You are expected to have the maturity to make decisions given a situation. Is it not true? It's not that you're going to, you've studied engineering or math or whatever. It's not that you are expected to learn, understand, or remember all the things that you learned. No, nobody can. But when it comes to a situation, you know exactly how to work on it. So also, in Vedanta, we study many books and many various theories, but at the end of the day, what is that we are expected to have as our maturity is when it comes to a problem, emotional problem or intellectual challenge or spiritual confusion, we know exactly how to think. What is that thinking that we are expected to have after having studied the Upanishad, etc.? So a situation is where strong identification with experiences is where we are right now. And these are all called the impressions or the vasanas I have explained to you before. We all are born with certain impressions. And we give expressions to that. There are three ways to handle the inherent tendencies in us. Expressions, which is what constitutes our behavioral pattern. These are all the outcome of impressions coming to expression. For example, when you go for the lunch today and tomorrow, went at around 10 o'clock, they have placed so many different kinds of food. You usually go to a food which you are familiar with. Am I right? If I give dosa there, how many of you know what a dosa is? Dosa? You like dosa? Those who do not know what dosa is, would they like it? They don't even know what this is. Dosa. Doesn't sound right. Because you have never had impressions of that. So you may try it, but you don't want to first attempt that because you go for what is familiar. So also in our life, what we see in this world is what we want to see. There are so many things in this world, but what you see is usually what you would like to see. Think about it. Close your eyes and think about all those people whom you saw today from morning till now. You might have come across so many people in the ashram, or if you have gone out into the city and then gone for some shopping and came back. Think about it. How many people you might have come across? How many of you remember? How many things you might have seen? How many of you recollect that? You won't recollect everything. Why? You saw it, but you didn't record it. Why? Because that's not what you like to see. Sometimes if you like to buy a car, a particular brand of car, and suddenly you'll see everybody's using the same car. Because it's like everybody's using the same car which I like. Because that's what you would like to see. So impressions are those which make us behave in a particular way, and we react to this world in the similar way because we want to repeat the same experiences all the time. If let us say that I am a person whom you know, and I have my encounter with you or interaction with you was pleasant yesterday, you expect the same pleasantness today also, and tomorrow as well. And if I behave differently, then you start reacting. Because that's not what you expected. So our impressions that we give to expression are most of those which make us able to respond to the world in a particular way, and that's called its behavior. So Upanishad says the behaviors are because of the past impressions we would like to repeat again and again and again. Now, these vasanas, these inherent tendencies, those which make us who we are, at some point of time when you study Vedanta or Upanishad, you would say, we have to not express anymore because these are to be overcome. These are all what makes us behave in a particular way. So the next one you would do is suppress. Many people do this wrong thing. In the name of religion or in the name of spirituality, they suppress their desires. They don't express it, they push it down. They try to look away from it. They try to deny it. They try to ignore it. And that leads to a major problem. Unintelligent self-denial, blind beliefs, frustration, heartburns, and it is even said it creates psychosomatic diseases. Many people who have suppressed their desires have gone into depression, or heartburns, or ulcers, or psychosomatic diseases, mental disorders. In the name of spirituality, many people have gone mad also. Blind beliefs, denial, self-persecution. Neither expressions are correct, nor the denial or suppression is right. What do we do? That's what Upanishad comes to rescue us, to say sublimation, which means observe carefully your own mind, your own thoughts, your own emotions, your own feelings, your own urges, your own needs, your own demands of the senses and the mind, emotional needs, the physical needs, psychological needs. Start observing it. Don't deny it. Don't suppress. And then you have to, the intention of the Upanishad is to not to either express, which is the privilege of the animals, not to suppress, which is unintelligent way of handling your own urges. Sublimate by questioning it. Observe and question it. Do I really need this? Do I benefit out of this? Or it is just a behavior, it's just a habit? So, replacing negative reactions with the positive ones and responsibility. I'll come to this point a little later, how this is done. So this is where Upanishad is a more intelligent approach to life. Not just a blind belief, which religion would say, thou not do it, otherwise you go to hell. Most people follow religion out of fear. If I don't believe in this form of God, if I don't worship, I'll be sent to hell and I'll be punished. Therefore, Upanishad says, don't practice anything out of fear, don't do out of some pressure or blind belief, question it. That's why the entire Upanishad is about a dialogue between the teacher and the student. Why should I not? Or why should I do it? The teacher is expected to answer this. It's an open dialogue where the student is no more forced to do anything, nor he would be denied any answers. I will explain to you why, the teacher would say. So, not impression, not expression, which is what we do most of the time. We just vent out whatever we want to say or hear, enjoy, indulge. Nor it is an unintelligent suppression which leads to, inside there is so much of trauma that goes on, leading to many psychological problems or psychological disturbances. So sublimation is where you start to become an observer of your own life. A part of you is watching yourself. A part of you is silently looking at yourself. A part of you is able to guide you carefully. A part of you is staying as a higher nature of awareness and making sure. It is beautifully put in one of the Upanishads called Mundaka Upanishad. There are two birds in the same tree. Dva Suparna Sayuja Sakaya. Two birds are sitting in the same tree. One is enjoying and indulging in the fruits that are growing in that same tree. Some are bitter, some are sweet. And when it eats a bitter one, it's suffering. And when it eats a sweet one, it's enjoying. But the other one does not do it. Neither enjoys the sweet ones nor the suffering of the bitter ones. It's just watching the other one doing this. So the other one, which is enjoying, looks at the observer and say, hey, you are not enjoying these beautiful fruits? when it is enjoying the beautiful. Oh, you are so safe, so detached. I am suffering these bitter ones. So that one is called Ishwar, the Lord within you, and the one which is experiencing is called Jiva, the individual self. They are not two. They are one having two different levels of awareness. And thus these two are there in your own self. They are not two, really speaking. One is of a higher level of thinking, another is a lower level of indulgences. The same mind is taking two parts. One is an observer, another is an enjoyer and experiencer. It's like, you have acted in a movie and you yourself is watching that movie. Then what? Who is there? Me. Who's watching? Me. Right? Actually, if you are playing a role in a skit, let us say, you are asked to play a role of a beggar on the stage, on a drama stage. While you are acting out as a beggar, you are all aware, you are still aware, I'm just playing. I'm not a beggar. Let us say the other character who's there in front of you is just shouting at you and he is throwing things at you. You're just a beggar, get out, and things like that he was saying. He is also acting a role of a person who is just abusing you there. Inside you smile. Why? I'm not a beggar, but I'm acting out as a beggar. And he is not another man who can abuse me. He is also an actor. So when I thus playing a role as a beggar, I'm still aware that I'm just playing that role, even though I've played it out very well, but still I'm unaffected by the role that I play. In the same way, an observer in you is to be invoked, and that observer is constantly watching the one who is experiencing. This is called sublimation. This makes you, when you are observing yourself, indulging or engaging in something which is just for the sake of pleasure, out of habit, the observer says, do you really need it? Is it not just a habit? Is it not something which you are used to but it's not useful at all? This needs to be developed. The awareness within you as an observer is called Sakshi in Sanskrit. The one who is constantly vigilant, alert, and aware of who you are, what you're doing. Since because we do not have the ability to have an awareness built in ourselves, we believe that God is watching. You see how religion puts it? God is watching everything that you do. God is watching and judging you, whether you go to hell or heaven. God will give you punishment in the hell. God will help you to enjoy the heaven. See, they keep it outside you and make you go to that place, church or the mosque or the temple or anywhere, and then you do the confession, you do the prayer, you do the worship. Why? He is watching. Upanishads says he's not watching from outside. He's inside. He cannot even close his eyes for a moment because he is there within you all the time. If he's outside, you can shut the door and do whatever you want to do. You go and confess or say to the Lord and then come back home and continue. But if he's in you, then what will you do? Whom do you fool? That's why people who go to pray and then do all sort of things as a religious a person who's walking the path of religion or is a religiously bent, a religious person, continue to commit mistakes, continue to cheat others, continue to cheat himself. Why? Because he doesn't realize the one whom you worship as God out there in a temple or a church is actually watching you from within. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Upadrashta, Anumanta. I, the one who is closely watching, I allow you to do what you want to do until you realize that it's wrong. I allow that. Knowledge is what makes you realize. So since soul is seated in matter, it experiences qualities of matter. Identification with the qualities of matter is the cause of rebirth. Because I want to experience more and more and more and more of what I have been, so I leave this physical body only to come back to experience more. So if you think positively, sound becomes music, movement becomes dance, smile becomes laughter, mind becomes meditation, life becomes a celebration. If one realizes that it is me who has to correct me, the observer needs to be aware and slowly start guiding the lower self, which is subject to all these tendencies and habits. So this is where Upanishad gives these two paths. One is the path of the pleasant, known as prayers. This path is what we are familiar with: immediate pleasure, sense gratification, temporary experiences. Result is resulting in disappointment because not all the time you get what you want. And majority choose this path, which is what most people are busy with in their life. The other path that is there is called Shreyas, the path of the good, which is lasting joy, spiritual evolution, deeper impact, results in contentment, and very few choose this. When you choose the path of Shreyas, the path of good, the result is not immediate. The result is slow but sure. Whereas when you walk the path of prayers, the path of pleasure, the result is immediate, but the ending result is pain. For example, if I'm eating a sweet dish, first bite is so tasty and so beautiful, so I want it. The second time it is less, third time it's much less, fourth time it's a pain. Why? Because the body cannot take it anymore. Though it gave me pleasure at the beginning, finally it gave me only pain. Whereas the path of Shreyas is that which is more aware of the health and not merely the demand of the senses. So I eat what is necessary and I am content. I am having a lasting happiness. So very few people choose when it comes to these two paths: path of pleasure, which is temporary, immediate pleasure, or path of Shreyas, which is permanent, lasting happiness. And those who are following the path of Upanishad necessarily has to choose the path of Shreyas. One last part here. So the hierarchy of self-control, I'll explain this to you more. So perception, mind, intellect, self, and this is the way the Upanishad teaches. Begin with moderation of the senses, change your perceptions, and thought patterns will change. Intellectually you are guided, and the self is the ultimate guide which will help you to realize the highest happiness. More of this I'll talk about tomorrow. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Peace Peace. Thank you.